Mr. Putman, thank you for being here with me today. Your thoughts on Senate Bill 990?
It's encouraging to see legislation that strengthens the death penalty. A lot of people in Austin want to weaken it. In this case, it protects children who are murdered, which is obviously something we can agree on as a society.
Now, there's a lot of arguments that this could be a deterrent. Would you echo that? Do you think this will actually stop criminals from killing those who are less than 15 years of age, or just killing people in general?
No, absolutely. I think the death penalty is a deterrent. Some people would argue it's not because it doesn't deter everybody, and certainly it doesn't deter everybody. No crime, no punishment deters everyone, but it does deter some people. When they know capital murder is an option for their crime, they think twice.
Have you had instances like that here in Smith County, someone saying, if I would have known this was the death penalty, I wouldn't have done this, or anything like that?
I've not had anyone specifically say that in Smith County, but there have been interviews with people done in prison who have said they went to different states because they knew those kinds of crimes are punishable by death penalty in the state they were in.
Do you feel as though, the stronger the punishment, I guess, the more deterrence is created, or that's not always the same?
Deterrence is obviously an appropriate reason to have punishment, an appropriate reason to have the death penalty, but it's not the only reason. I think the most important reason to have the death penalty is that's what people deserve for committing heinous acts. It's not for most crimes, it's only for the worst of the worst.
And if this were to pass, how would it impact your job at the district attorney's office as a district attorney?
So this bill expands who's eligible for the death penalty. Rather than it just being murdering children under the age of 10, death penalty is eligible for people who murder someone under the age of 15. So there would be more murders now that we would look at as being potentially death penalty cases.
Do you feel as though the bill goes far enough, or the age should be changed in any way?
I think changing the age is an excellent measure to get justice for Texans. Before, if it's under 10, you murder a 9-year-old, you look at whether that's a death penalty case. But is there a moral difference in murdering a 9-year-old versus murdering an 11-year-old? I don't think so. I think both of those cases both could deserve the death under the right circumstances.
And going back to your previous answer, would this change at all, like any procedure at the office or anything like that? Or you'd still go about your cases normally, it would just be a different punishment?
So death penalty cases do have a different procedure. There's a lot more time and resources that are put into those cases. We have to explore every possibility and look for every piece of evidence we can find, both for the state and for the defense. They're costly, but to get that justice in those cases, it's worth the cost.
So when you're considering the death penalty, it's often like the last consideration or something like that?
Well, anytime someone commits a crime that's eligible for the death penalty, we do a lot of upfront work to see, is this a case where we should seek death? We don't seek death on every capital case, but we certainly look at that and see if that would be appropriate.
Could this change in any way the amount of death penalty cases you see yourself trying in Smith County?
It certainly could. If this bill becomes law, then murders of children from 10 up through 14 would become eligible for the death penalty. So we would look at murders of children that age. Thankfully in Smith County we don't have that many of them. But when we do, we would look at each one of those and decide, is that a case where we think the death penalty would be appropriate?
And I know earlier we were talking about some of the differences between the bill online. Is there anything in there you'd like to elaborate on?
No, I just thank the senators and representatives for their work on this bill. We hope it passes.